Mickey.
Definitely.
And Mickey, in fact, Mickey was an outstanding player. The introduction that you said about him is completely and absolutely true. Mickey was a fantastic player. Maybe he was a little bit unlucky that in the time that he played, it was Ricky Villa, it was Glenn Hoddle, maybe myself playing for the same position. If not, Mickey will have a lot of more game for Spain or for whoever. And certainly he should have been playing for England. In fact, he didn't want to play for England. He didn't play for England because somehow he was very shy. I remember one day when he was called for England, he came and talked to me and said, "I'm being called to England. It's wonderful. Congratulations," and so on. No, I don't want to go. Why not? Why don't you want to go? That was the kind of person that Mickey was. And so I'm very proud that, when I was manager of Sweden, I took him there, and when I was manager of Tottenham, I bring him back to his home, Tottenham. After saying that, I was very lucky to sign a lot of very good players, and probably when you think about it in these terms, is one player that is much, the biggest that I signed was Jurgen Klinsmann.
Nice. Mickey, through all the resentment against Ossie for holding you back, I'm sure you came to like him regardless, and I'd be interested to know how much, I'm sure Ossie learned things from you as well, but what did you learn from Ossie when you were a youngster?
I didn't
Nothing. No, listen, Ossie Ardiles is not, forget his football, as a man, he's the greatest man I've ever known. I've known him all my life, since the age of 16, and it's a pleasure for me to be in his company today.
His wife is going to be a bit jealous.
It's equally a pleasure for me today as it was the first time I ever met him. And the great thing about Ossie was he was an unbelievably good footballer. Not as good as me, but he was unbelievably good. And I was a youngster coming through the ranks, and Ossie was there every step of the way to help and guide me and advise me. And that was the great thing, was I was vying for his position, yet he still gave me his help. And in fact, the only reason I didn't take his place was because he'd given me that help, otherwise I would have. But no, he's the man that I hold, of everyone that I've ever come across in football, I hold Ossie in the highest esteem, and I would run through a brick wall for the man. He's just, everyone here tonight, you will feel, Ossie's biggest strength was he made you feel so special to him. Everyone that comes into contact, you feel like you've known him for your whole life, you feel like he's your very, very best friend and someone that you could rely on forevermore. You will all experience it tonight, as I've experienced it my whole life, and as I said, for me it's a pleasure and an honour to sit here next to him.
Very good, very good. Ossie, you were the first, or do you want to reply to Mickey?
No,
you were the first...
I wanted to say, he went to make me cry, but...
You came to this country with a young family. You were the first foreign player, I think, to play professionally in England. You spoke very little or no English. It must have been A, pretty scary, and B, pretty tough on the family as a whole to come to this strange place and eat weird food and have to get to know all these pasty-faced, shouty people. So what was it like, and how long did it take you to get to grips with English life?
My English... What was the question? My English was as good as when I arrived as it is right now, so I didn't improve a lot, as you can see. But thinking back, yes, we arrived with Ricky Villa, another incredibly good friend of mine, and we arrived in England in 1978. We were the first foreigners to play in England. England was an island at the time, an island in every respect, not only geographically, but culturally. I mean, you mentioned the food, for example. We were incredibly upset about the food that we were eating. This stupid beef that they put in there with the kind of, I mean, they always look so, I don't know what they put in. They have a nice steak and chips and so on, and the beef were there, I don't know what. But fortunately, England has changed a lot. But as I was saying that, it was an incredibly big adventure when we arrived with Ricky here. In fact, we have each other to support. That was a big help for Ricky and for me. At least we were two that we were talking the same language, footballistically as well. After that, we had a little bit of help from Mickey and people like Glenn Hodder, for example, that they did speak the same language that us in the football field. But it was an incredible adventure, but with Ricky it was always the thing was we were coming here for 3 years, signed the contract, and then we were going to go back to Argentina and buy a ranch and so on. 30 years later, I am still here.
I'll just ask one more question, and then if you guys want to think of a question or two you'd like to ask these chaps, that'd be great. Mickey, I watched YouTube today and I had a look at the Aussie's Dream video with both of you in it, with Chaz and Dave, and I think you won't be offended if I say it was truly dreadful. It's not your fault. It's just, whoever came up with it was just having a laugh. But it made me think, you know, you were professional footballers at the time, but it was still an era when people weren't diving so much, people weren't earning so much, people weren't acting like prima donnas. What are your, in a nutshell, what are your views on the state of the game now?
Where do you begin? I mean, I watch football today, I've got to be honest, I find it incredibly boring. Although I watch Manchester United and they excite me, I watch the scum. That's Arsenal in case you don't know. And I find them so exciting to watch, it's almost like they've become Spurs. Because they play the football that we used to play. But other than that, you know, Chelsea obviously a very, very good side, but how dull and boring are they to watch? You know, and when they're on, as someone on my table said earlier, they turn it over and watch, what was it? Some cookery programme on the other side. I mean, that's how dull and boring. So football's sort of very much boring with very few real entertainers. There's no real characters around. There's some great footballers around. I mean, my personal favourite, Paul Scholes, I think he's the best player to grace the Premier League. I love him to bits, and you know, Gigsy's shown at the age of 35 that the game can still be played with flair and imagination. But in general, it's pretty much of a muchness. Too many athletes, not enough footballers as far as I'm concerned. I'm sure Ossie will agree because I know Ossie's philosophy on football. And certainly when I worked under him as a player, Ossie wanted footballers, not athletes, and obviously he was wrong. But I'm sure there's a group of supporters out there, you know, when you go to a football match, I'm sure you don't go home and talk about the guy that ran 60 yards and made a tackle. I'm sure you want to go home and talk about the skill that Eric Cantona did, or Glenn Hoddle did, or that pass that someone hit, or that dribble that someone went on. We go to football to be entertained. We want to watch the footballers. And I say, give us back our football.
I'll not be offended with what you say about the song, but I think you were a little bit over the top.
Sorry, you got professional.
I think it was quite a great song actually. And people forget, but it was #1 in the England ranking. So we were competing with Paul McCartney, Elton John, Spain, you name it, and we were top of the pop. So I mean, my big respect to Chase and Dave that they did the song, and to us that we sing it in a very special way. I mean.